Hi there, this is Dawn. Welcome to my art room and welcome to my YouTube channel. It's lovely to have you and welcome to lots of all my new subbies. Lovely to have you join me. Thrilled to bits that you're interested in what I'm doing and happy to subscribe. Very exciting to see those numbers building. So today what I'm doing is working on my still life with Roxy's Journal of Stitchery Volume 7, and which is, a YouTube project created and inspired by Rachel and Sarah from Roxy Creations. If you're interested, you'll see the link in my description. And I've been working really solidly on the embroidery of this part here, thread painting, doing lots of outlining, trying to come up with different sorts of textures. And I'm ready now to tackle these two flowers here that haven't got anything in them. So my decision about that is to do them a bit textural. So I've started to look at some of this dyed cheesecloth that I've got. I don't really have exactly the right colour. And so you can use a bit of creative license, and I've looked at everything that I've got, and this is close simply because it will, bring this dark colour up here. But I'm going to do beading, and so I've collected some beads in the colours that I think will work with this piece. I've got a few different ones I think, I don't know that the bigger ones, but these little ones, smaller ones here. So different sizes of beads. And then just use the thinner cheesecloth. And I think, that's where I'm headed. It's taken me a little while to sort of, just sort through what I had. I could go and try and dye some more, and then that's going to be another day. And then I went, no, I just want to get on with it. And I think I'm pretty happy with this. It's going to sit in, certainly in the colourway. It's probably closer to some of the other colours. And what I want to do is replicate the sweep of the petal in this. And I thought to do that, it might look quite good in fabric. And so that's my plan. It's going to be sort of scrunched up fabric. My last video, I was doing my fruit, and I was very happy with how the cheesecloth really lended itself to sort of some shading and movement and texture. And I thought, yeah, I'm going to repeat that into this bit here. Not the same colours, obviously. So yeah, I was pretty happy with how they came out. And they, that darker red colour is definitely, moving into all the pieces. So yeah, that's my plan. So if you'd like to see what I'm going to do, stick around now. Good. All right. Well, the first thing I need to do is cut some of this cheesecloth out into just some basic shapes. This is a piece that's got a few different colours in it. This was a piece that I dyed, and this was a piece I painted, and I thought about it for a little bit, but I think it's too purpley, and I don't really have that purpley mauve colour anywhere else. I had some, this tiny weeny little bit of reds that's been hanging around for ages. I wish I could find more of that. I was pretty sure I had more of it, and this is the only last bit that I can find, which is actually probably enough because they're only little flowers. And again, too mauvey, too pinky. So I figured I'm better off to stick in a colourway that actually is going to work. Excuse me. So yeah, that's how I sort of came up with the idea of really what I wanted to use. And so I'm just sort of kind of like doing the whole, well, I think I need about that much. I'm going to get rid of this one, bring this one down a little bit closer and you a little bit closer. There we go. I've got to stay above that white line, that red line. A terrible habit of working right down here, and I know that when people do it, other people do it, I'm trying to wishing that they would move their hands up. So yeah, I get the frustration. That's what I'm trying to say. All right, I think I'm going to where I was originally. I need to get all this stuff out. I was trying to decide whether I was going to do a couple of layers, and I might. If I think it still needs a bit of darkness, I've got this squishy little bit here, and that might just work. All right, so I can see in here, I can see the shape. I know I kind of need around about that much, and so it's really, that's all I'm doing as to how I'm literally cutting it out, bigger than what I think, so that I've got room to trim some off. Trim it off, can't put it back. Oh well, I suppose you can, but I'm not going to have quite the same effect as it would have. Now, I did start thread painting in here because these bits here and around here are part of that flower, and that was when I decided to stop. Well, I did those bits and then went, no, I'm not going to keep going with that. I'm going to do this bit here, you know, with the fabric. Just trying to pull in as many different stitches and textures as I can to distinguish one flower from another, to be quite honest. I I just thought, otherwise it just felt a bit flat. I thought about doing ribbon embroidery and with silk ribbon, and my only problem with that is the shine. This is all done in wool, and it's got its own light, and I've put a bit of rayon in here. I thought doing silk ribbon embroidery here, which it would have lent itself very nicely. I just didn't think that the two textures were going to work together, and so that's my reasoning behind it all. I've used lots of fluoro thread for outlining that I'm really happy with. You can probably see a bit there around this rose in the orange. And then the greenery's got the yellow, that stands out more vibrantly, but the orange is definitely there. This flower here is the same as this one. Gerbera, maybe? You know, I've outlined this one in the rayon, which distinguishes it from this one, but this one's sort of at the back. And I think it's okay without being outlined. I still need to put some centres into these flowers here. What I did was this one here. See, I put that little bit in there, and yeah, no, just this one. And that's some little bullion knots. So I've still got to do that. I'd still like to add some of these bullion tendrils up in this area here somewhere, but we're doing this flower for now. All right, I'm going to, and I'm literally just, you know, poking it in, and then I'm going to stitch it with just some invisible stitching. I've got some rayon thread that I'm happy to use that I think is in a colourway that will kind of match. I need to work out, there's 2 in here. One that's a little bit darker. I wonder if I use just the weeniest bit of that in there. Let's give it a whirl. It's almost precious, this bit. Yeah, I think that looks all right in there. All right. Lucky I found that little weeny bit. Mind you, it's been floating around for a little while. And I was sure that the main piece would alight, but it hasn't. So I can only assume I've used it and forgotten that I've used it. I don't. That leaf goes over the top of that flower, but I don't think it would matter if I did the reverse and had that petal going over the top. It's just a slightly different colour to that bit. I don't know how that happened. Oops. Do we want it in there? No, it's probably all right. Bit of creative license as far as this flower is concerned. It's not going to be quite a realistic flower, but then that's all right. I don't think any of them are. Yeah, and this is the measuring. You could, if you really wanted to get a really defined shape, you could trace it off if you were trying to fill in a flower like this and have a pattern for a petal shape. So I think I want this one to come over that one because that one is just a little bit darker in there. And I think I'm still going to put a little bit around there. None of these little bits throw out because, well, they're mere threads. They're probably sufficient. So what I'll do with the stitches is then make sure that I'm catching it on those, into those shapes, and then I can always come back and add a little more. I can't decide about that bit there, just because nowhere else has got it. Well, nowhere else does have it, so maybe I don't want to use that much. It's mere threads. It's you know, you could probably get the same effect if you were just using threads, but there's something a bit more random about it when you're not sort of in control of the needle and thread. It almost looks like another flower. It's quite odd, isn't it? All right, we'll bring you down in there a little bit further. Stick to me. And this one has to go in here, but yeah, you know, I think it's going to go over that leaf, because if I don't do that, I'm going to lose the shape of it. Does it look like a rose? No. But let's see how we go when we put stitches and beads in and see if we can make it look something like a rose, hopefully. Oh. All right, I'll put those up there. Oh, goodness, because I'm going to struggle by threading the needle because I'm on the screen. Okie doke. I do have another pair of scissors and I'm not going to thread it in front of you because I know how annoying that can be when you're going, oh, for goodness sakes, get it in the eye of the needle, girl. See? Instant. Just goes straight in when I'm not on the screen. Crazy. I hope this finds you all well. We all are. I've had a bit of a busy old week this week. I kept saying to my husband, oh, I haven't made a video this week. I don't know. They're going to think I've gone, that I'm lost. But the thing is that I was doing the thread embroidery, the thread painting on all of these flowers and on outlining them, and I just felt that you probably had seen enough of that, and that I'd rather come on and show you something a little bit different to what I'd been doing. So I hope that's okay. I need to really, I've been working on my Just Because quilt, just because it's probably time for it to be close to being done. The last few panels are similar to what I've already done. I have some other YouTube videos if you're not sure what that's all about on Just Because quilt, which is a Christmas theme. And the last few panels are a bit of a repeat of what I'd already done, so I didn't think that I needed to film myself doing them. Sort of it's got a little tucked in for some reason. I need to go and keep working on it a little bit. They're not so as invisible as I might have thought to start with. Might have done those first few a bit big, so I'll be mindful of that. I'm more concerned about getting all of the raw edges enclosed so that they don't just peel off, wear off, rub off, when you're handling stuff. That's why I've sort of left it to almost the last bit, because this will just wear away. I hope you can see what I'm doing. I'll give you a close-up view in a minute, but I'm really just catching the fibres where I can see them sticking out. I'm probably not as wrapped in that bit there. I might have a play, it's just that you can see them. Try and pull them up a bit. You can sort of see the stitches, which I don't know whether I wanted to do that. Once the beads go in the centre, they will then hide some of these raw edges. And like I said, I'm just going to put just a variety of colours and sizes of fairly small beads. I haven't got beads anywhere else, so I'm going to sort of make a major production of it. But, you know, I thought once I've done it, I can make a decision as to whether I need anywhere else. I hadn't thought about it till I decided I was going to do it on these two. So, yeah. All right, so I've gone around the edges. As you can see, it's pretty much staying. I didn't need to use pins or anything. And it just kind of sticks to it, sticks to everything actually. My fingers. And so I thought my next project is going to be getting onto the little Nature's Treasures panel that we got at the Ballarat retreat. Susanna and Corinne have been putting theirs up, and I wanted those to be the priority as it's Susanna's project, and she has the panels available for sale on her Vintage Blend Studio website. But yeah, I thought that's going to be my next sort of a series of videos that I'll do. I'm making a rice bag out of mine, Japanese rice bag. But I've also got another idea for another zippered pouch. And yeah, a little tiny one. I'm going to Japan in June, and thought I could make a little pouch for my earbuds, you know, charging cords and things that I seem to do a disappearing act in the suitcase, and I thought if I make myself a little zippered pouch, I can share that with you. Just because I thought it would be a useful thing to have. You can never have too many zippered pouches. I certainly can't. I like them in my suitcase, you know, specific little pouches and things, so that I know where things are rather than them all rolling around in the bottom of the suitcase. And in particular, things like earbuds and charging wires. I don't need a toiletry bag because I've got one of those, but if I've got something that I can find fairly easily with those other things in, instead of them, once they get into the side pockets of the inside of the suitcase, mine hasn't got a zip, and so as soon as you tip the zip out, the pocket up, everything falls out of it. It's fine when you've got it laying flat down in the motel room, but it's useless to keep everything together in the one place. So yeah. Now that bit of red, I want it to stay underneath, so I think I might stitch it in first. And then I'll stitch that other one over the top. I didn't keep this to the true form because I wanted the stitches going in different directions. Sarah does a little bit of that. No, Rachel does a little bit in her stitching. Oh, they probably both do. Gosh, sorry. I'm not sure who does which now. I think it's Rachel that does the stitching in different directions. Well, one that I've seen anyway. And I really like the look of it, so thank you for that inspiration, Rachel. it made me think of you as I was doing it, but of course I did lose the where the exact place was for the petals, so some of the outlining is probably not in exactly the right spot, but I think it's all right. It's okay for what it is. And then I'll probably outline this, even though it's textural, I still quite like an outline, but I thought I would outline it in something a bit darker, not the fluoro. Though I don't think the fluoro anyway. Maybe the fluoro. I might have to check it out and see what it looks like. So as you can see, I'm just doing little stitches just all over the place that you can no longer really see. I had a feeling that was going to happen. Oh, here I go, this painful job again. Yeah, I hadn't thought about it. I was thinking it needed to have a dark outline, but maybe it could have... I need my thimble. I actually think that the flower itself, even those petals, could do with some outlining. Let me have a think about what I've got that I could use. I think if I use the fluoro, it's probably going to be a bit much. Might not be. You know, with the fluoro, I'm a bit addicted to it, in case you hadn't wondered and noticed. But I try it first. If I hate it, I don't leave it there. I'm not so silly that I can't think of anything else. But yeah, I must admit I've pulled it out a few times because I've thought, no, that looks ridiculous. But mostly I'm happy with it. I don't know why. It's got something about it that really appeals to my eye. And I probably need this orangey colour. I've put it up here on that flower bud there, and a little tiny weeny bit in that one. This one hasn't got any, but it's a bit darker. Yeah. And mostly I use single thread. I used double down the bottom here where it was all had the thread weaving, sorry, just because it was thicker. But I didn't think that it needed to be everywhere. Oh dear, what's going on here? I thought I'd done something crazy then. I suppose there's probably lots of you out there who go, no, don't use that fluoro, it's awful. But I like it. I couldn't have told you that I would have liked it 12 months ago, but I've just got more and more. The more I've seen it used, the more I've wanted to use it. So, yeah, it's not just... probably a leave over from my 20s when I liked it then. Probably even older, I was probably dressing my kids in fluoro. Got to think about that one. They weren't. Oh, they probably were fluoro-y. Oh yeah, they were. Gosh, I remember my son. He had yeah, it's funny. He's a plumber and he wears fluoro now, high vis stuff. and he wore it a lot when he was about 3, because that's when we all first seeing it in clothing, in t-shirts and things. And now we've just, almost come full circle in what, nearly 40 years. Well, at least 35 anyway. I don't think my daughter had as much fluoro. Can't remember that bit. She certainly had quite bright colours. I remember these really hot pinks and, really hot aquary blue colours, and but then there were also mauves and, yeah. But I certainly remember my son having fluoro t-shirts, or certainly fluoro trim. All right, so I think what I'm going to do next is I'm actually going to do that outlining. And I think I'm going to try with the fluoro. The fluoro has a slightly different texture to other embroidery threads, and it's probably the dyeing process that makes it, I almost want to go drier. I know that that's a weird thing to say about thread, but it's not. It's maybe not as smooth. It's a bit coarser. And not all of the colours are the same. It could be just the thread. But I don't think there's too many brands that make the fluoro. It's going to be a specific dyeing process, I would imagine, to get that colour. All right. And this little one with the red in it was underneath. So I'm going to go and do that bit first. What I've done with outlining is just like a stem stitch, so that I yep. And I don't mind if it buries itself a little bit. Sorry, can you hear my washing machine? Oh, I'm sorry about that. I just became aware of it then myself. It's just in that last final spin. And yeah, I can just hear it. Sorry if you can too. It'll be stopped in a second. All right. It's just there and that's all. All right, I'll come over here. Go down this side. Yep, sorry. It's just going to be noisy today. Sometimes is, and sometimes you don't even, I don't notice it. You get used to it, I suppose, and then all of a sudden right then, I was very aware of it. So my apologies for that. Oh, yep, that's it. It's bipping me and telling me it's done, so that's good. I bought myself some new dyes, and they're in these really bright colours. They quite possibly will be fluoro-y, but probably more bright than fluoro, I think. I don't know if fluoro is a specific. Yeah, I think it's got a some metallic in it to make it fluorescent, which means it just changes under the light, doesn't it? This one buried itself right down in here, so I'm just trying to get something similar in that. That one's gone off on a weird angle. Both of those have. Gets very fluffy on the ends. I don't know if you can see it. So yeah, it's just a different texture to the other embroidery threads. Now, I think I'm going to have to go on the other side. So I was working on this side of the thread. I'm going to go on the other side of the thread just to get that shape. Yeah, that's it. So instead of coming back on this side, I'm going on that side. I hope that makes sense. I'm hoping you can see where I'm going. I was a bit worried when I was doing all of this stitching that I was going to shrink the panel quite a bit, but when I was putting it up against the other one, it doesn't seem too terrible. I mean, I know there was a bit of leeway anyway, and I guess it'll be how much goes sort of down the side. All right, so now I'm going to come back up and sweep it around here just to give me that, the shape of that petal that it was sort of, you know, it was doing a flip over. And again, I'm going to go on that side of the thread to keep that shape. Coming up and over that leaf is already there. Now I'm going to go on this side of the thread, closer to me. Oh, does it want to? Yes, it does. Yeah. I think, yeah. I think I still need to go on that side for a little bit. Yeah. You can sometimes scoop it, but I'm really tending not to because there is so much on the other side of this that it just gets tangled up and I end up going through knots, and just speaking from experience, it's not easy to scoop it. All right, now I think I can go on this side to come back up. Sometimes it's like a back stitch, but I go beyond where the previous stitch ended, just to so I'm not sort of getting a I'm sort of covering the stitches like a stem stitch does, rather than a back stitch where you get a dotted line almost. All right, cool. I'm going to go and finish this, and then you can see where I'm going, and I'll come back when I get cracking on the beading. All right, be back in a sec. Ooh, well, I'm very excited because I'm nearly done. I'm quite happy with how this bit of clustered beading went here, so I'm going to add some more here. You know, I did a bit of I mixed the fluoro with a darker thread. So I mixed sort of this colour with this colour together, and just sort of you know, dulled it down a little bit. After I'd done a little bit of this, I thought, well, I want it, but I didn't want it quite that bright. But anyway, so I'm a bit happy about that. I've added some of these little boolean tendril things, and I thought I'll quickly come and show you one of those and then the beading, because I'm so close to being finished. It's not funny. So yeah, that's going to be finished by the time you see this. It'll be done. Woohoo! I'll put a photo of the final bit. So making these boolean tendrils, I'm using this decor thread. It's a rayon. You know, I've had it for a while, so long time. And there's no rhyme, no reason. There's just lots. So you need a long needle, and you need to make sure that your bead will go through it. So I've done all of that, and then keep wrapping till you think it's long enough. There is no counting with this. I've got no idea. I haven't counted them. I just go till I think, you know, that might look all right. I have done this once before in another video when I was doing the vase part, the bottom part of this panel. So the only thing that you need to do now is to tease it off, because, oops, there's so many on here, it tightens on the needle. And so it's just a matter of, you know, slowly tease it off. If you think you want to add a few more, you've still got time to do that. I might, but just, you know, try not to do it too tight. Don't have the wraps too tight, because it's too hard to get off the needle. So if you can keep them a bit loose. Oh, can't believe I'm nearly done. This, I feel like, has taken such a long time. Well, certainly since we started. So January, and we're coming up almost to the end of March. So it's been a really long project. I've done other things, but I've done a lot of embroidery, more so on this, I think, than any other project. So yeah, so that's how that little tendril looks. I'll do a couple more, but not with you. It's just doing a boolean, not a boolean stitch that you just make as long as you want, which will give it that funny little curl. And I really like the look of it. A beaded boolean. So yeah, and it just does a natural curl however it wants to do it. I'm happy with it. It can just do whatever it wants. All right, I'll finish that off, and then I'll get on to doing a little bit of beading. So you can see, and the beading was really just what I thought looked all right next. I didn't, I didn't do too much planning. I've got a teeny tiny beading needle somewhere. So right at this second, it's done a disappearing act. Oh no, tell me it hasn't. Oh no, I can see it. Panic averted. It's so thin. It's not like one of those long skinny ones, but it is a very fine one. Horrible to thread. So I'm not going to subject you to that torture. But it's over here. So yeah, so I've just used the rayon thread. I don't know where I got this beading needle from. Got a horrible bend in it. I don't care. It's great. It's got a slightly better eye than the other wire ones. And so, excuse me, just easier to thread. I just use the rayon thread. It's nice and strong and fine enough to get through the eye of the needle. There's this little bit of, yellowy green colour in here that I'm just randomly picking up beads off my mat here. On the felt mat, they don't roll away, so they're quite easy to pick up from there. I just pick up whatever I like the look of and put it on there. And just building up a little bit of a cluster so that it'll just make for an interesting little cluster. But I think I need beads somewhere else. Once I did it, I was quite happy with the look of it and thought, do I only want these two flowers to have it? And I thought, maybe I don't. Maybe I want more. So putting on a larger one, a larger bead, just gives me something a bit different to work with. I've got, I think you can see me doing, don't tell me, right down the bottom of that screen again. All right. Where is this thing? Oh, yeah, it's here. All right. So yeah, I've just got these little packets of beads that I'm just putting things out on there with, so that I can pick them up fairly simply with my needle. I'm only putting one stitch in these. Some people like to put two. I don't mind if they sit on a funny angle. It doesn't really bother me. I'm okay with it. But I want another big one here. I probably wanted more than one. If you put two stitches in, you'll get, sorry, I do keep pulling that away from you. I'll try and concentrate a little bit better. If you put two stitches, it just helps the bead sometimes to sit flatter or sit up or whatever you want it to do. And in this instance, it doesn't bother me what it does, because it's it can do whatever it wants to do. I'm going to have to get another bit of thread because it's just way too, it's not going to So I've got to get there, which is a bother, because that's always, you know, a process. And again, I'm just using the one colour. I just picked this yellowy colour and then decided that the pinky red beads could fit on there too, and it didn't, you know, be sewn with it. Didn't really matter. It was going to work. Hopefully I get this threaded up nice and quick. Yes. Cool. Yeah, it's not a terrible needle to thread. It's just got a slightly bigger eye. Those, I mean, the beading needles are good because I'll just go through every single bead. And I'm putting a knot at the top there because the rayon thread pulls out really easily. And so I yeah, it's just more annoying. Don't want it to keep coming unthreaded. All right, a couple more in here. You'll see that what I have done is that I haven't covered all of the background colour because I'm not worried about it. I didn't want to try and cover it. I'll put another little one in there. Some of these are wonky and they don't, you know, you can't get the needle through them. I'm going to put that in the middle there. Yeah, good. Yeah, so you have to got to pick and choose between. So yeah, I've got slightly different sizes. Some a little bit bigger, some a little bit smaller. And a couple of different colours. What I had, just simply what I had. And not a lot of planning, just working out which, you know, making a decision on the fly, which bead will I have next. I just wanted to make a bit of a cluster, really, a bit like the centre of a flower that might have, you know, little seed heads or whatever in there. Good. Okay. I'm happy with that, how that looks. Just wanted to share that little bit with you, share my little boolean. Get rid of that. And I'm nearly done. Yippee. Actually get on to something else. I'm a bit of a, I don't like to have a whole heap of projects going at the same time. I like to get things finished. I reckon I might put some beads in there, in those ones, even though not there. I've already stitched some of it. I reckon it could still cope. Oh, that doesn't pull all the way through. I'm not going to. Oh, it did. I do always put like 2 stitches here first before my other beads are all a bit big for this project, and I just felt that this size bead probably is the biggest that I wanted to go with. Good. Okie doke. Well, I think I'm going to leave you here because I'm probably like supersonically close to the hour, and that's probably long enough. I did want to just show you what I was doing so you could see where I was going. If you want to, have a bit of a play with that yourself. But I think I'm pretty much done. I'm going to maybe let it sit for a minute and see how I go. I'll take a photo so that you can see. Hopefully I was on screen for that last bit. You can see where I've gone with the beading here and here, outlined this flower vaguely, a little tendril. I'll put another one there, a couple of little tendrils there, little bits in the middle of here. Yeah, I'm about to call it done. I'll be so excited when it is. Cool. All right. Hope you're enjoying yours too. Okay, bye for now.